Campaign senior advisor, senior spokesperson Karren Finney, also here in Farmville. To Donald Trump's point, to Bernie Sanders' point to a certain extent, how can she demand transparency with regards to his tax returns if she won't release those transcripts from those speeches?
Well, let's just take a step back here. I mean, releasing one's tax returns when you run for president is, what is it, a 40-year tradition? I mean, pretty much every presidential candidate going quite a ways back has done so. And also Donald Trump promised in 2014 that if he ran for president, he would release his taxes. So to some degree, it's a test of will he keep his own promise, and will he even just, these are just basic standards. Now, with regard to the speeches, I understand why they're trying to, shift the conversation. They've had a very bad week, and there are a lot of questions. I mean, we're talking about 3 pages out of, 1,200 that we've actually seen of his tax returns now. What other bombshells are in there? And, here's the difference that I would say. I mean, whether or not you agree with how much she made for those speeches, she gave those speeches. That's what she was paid. He made up close to $1 billion because he tanked his businesses.
But he didn't break the law. No one's claiming he broke the law.
Neither is giving speeches. But here's the difference. When those businesses went under, people lost their jobs. And we know that that's a common business practice of his. I mean, he shafts people all over the country. He will, underpay them, and he's being sued by a number of different small businesses. So, I guess I would just say let's take a look at, how Donald Trump has made his money. And I think it is a fair question to say, release your taxes. What are you so afraid of? And when it comes to transparency, Craig, I think, if we're going to have that conversation, I mean, Hillary Clinton has put out tax information going back to the 70s. She put out her medical records. I mean, she's been very her emails. Barely put out medical information, no tax information, and we know less about this man than we have any other presidential candidate in the history of our country. What we have learned are things like he's got these business dealings. He's is in hock to the Bank of China. I think it's fair to ask some questions about some of those dealings, and yet he says if he becomes president, he's going to keep those for-profit companies going. So, and there's a conflict of interest there, but he won't even talk about it.
Let's talk about the vice presidential debate tonight. You all